So today I want to tell you guys about the time that I won the Festive 500. Yes, I won the Festive 500 a few years ago with a friend of mine. It was an absolute blast. It was one of my favorite things I ever did on a bike. It was back when Rapha used to do like a competition around the Festive 500 where you could do storytelling or unique ways of telling your Festive 500. And we made a really great website, which I'll show you guys in a minute. And I'm still proud of it, and I'm really excited by it. But also I want to give you tips about being motivated and staying motivated, and also staying warm during the Festive 500. So let's do this. So before the Festive 500 started that year, my friend Boban and I had this really great idea for us to ride around Salzburg, the area we live and the area we love to cycle in, and really just explore some of our favorite routes here in the region. We had already done one season of riding together through the winter, so we kind of knew the lay of the land and how things were in the winter. But this winter got a little weird and threw a few wrenches in our plan. But we decided to tell our story through a unique way. We both had just gotten into photography. He was really into riding at the time, and I was really excited about making a website because I'm in the digital marketing world, so I was just excited to make this really cool digital experience. So we decided to make a website, and that website was the Salzburg 500. So right now you can go check it out, salzburg500.com. It's still active, but I'll run it through with you guys right now so we can just talk through it and I can show you some of the fun stuff we did. So this is the website. We really tried to focus around just covering our entire experience, and we broke it down by a handful of days. So we knew we'd take a few days and we'd say, hey, let's take it and chop it up into each day. So it was quite an adventure. We decided to bring some friends along for some of the rides. So for day one and day two, we had a friend, Rebecca Kirsch from Munich, came and rode with us. We rode up for the first day, one of the highest mountains in Germany for riding up, Rossfeld Panoramastrasse, which I have another video about, which I'll put in the info card right here so you can see it as well. And the one cool thing we tried to do for each day was make a really great visual. And you could see along each day, the visuals kind of got a bit more complex and complicated that kind of fit in with the narrative of the story we were telling that day. We just rode up literally like this mountain, and it was freezing cold. We let that sun rise, it was really wild. And yeah, it was a beautiful time. We really enjoyed it. It was Rebecca's first climb she'd ever even done, her first HC climb, and it was a beautiful day. And one of the fun things we did with the website was really kind of build this unique experience where we had like a lot of GIFs embedded, and we told a lot of the story around it. And also we would show some of the things happening in like the in the community we were riding through, so all the towns we went through. And it was a really good day, and I say for us it was perfect. It was sunny for the most part and no really bad weather. We enjoyed it. On day two is when things got a little more difficult. So we decided to ride up one of the highest mountains here in town. So it was really fun. We rode up Geisberg. So if you know Salzburg, Austria, it's the big mountain in town that everyone rides up. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's also a super hard climb to do. So we decided to do it on the second day of our Festive 500. But the problem is, as we started to go up, a snowstorm rolled in, and it got really, really cold, and the roads got really slushy as we got to the top, to the point that Boban had to even hike his bike down half the mountain because his brakes had completely frozen and quit working, and we had to hide out in like a little alm on top of the mountain to even warm up because we were so frozen from the freezing snow and rain climbing up the mountain. But the sun came out on the way down, and it was a really good time, and we kind of rode through the city and enjoyed it and ate some pretzels and had us a blast, right? It was a good time, but this is where things got a little difficult. So on our third day, first of all, I crashed. So we had a crash on our first day where literally, I'd say 10 kilometers in the ride, I took a turn too tight, and there was some ice, and I slid right out and banged the hip up. But we decided to go on. Boban had some mechanicals, and then we had a flat in the freezing cold. And this is where we first experienced our real Festive 500 weather. It was freezing. I still remember how cold this bike ride was. I was frigid the entire time. I could not warm up. We went up quite a long climb, and we were going to do a lot of riding after the climb, but the descent absolutely froze us. We were just shivering. And of course, we had mechanicals like always, and of course, we had to end up in a coffee shop trying to warm up at the time. Boban rocking this Rabobank jacket, which was really fun at the time. And of course, my bike then broke, and my Campy at the time, as always, was completely clunky and the chain broke and would no longer work. And you could see, you could probably know how hard it was to find a campy chain on a 2 days after Christmas in a small town in Austria. In the evening between the third and the fourth day is when things got a bit weird. We had a blizzard come through Salzburg that night, and it really wrecked it. It really made a shitty time for us. So we ended up only riding 18 kilometers that day, which is a bit of a, for a Festive 500 is not a good day. I did a little intro on how to dress when you're riding in cold weather, which I would not recommend doing this anymore, because that's not the clothes I even wear now when I go out in the cold weather. But at the time, it's all I had. And if you want, go check the website. You can see me half naked. Yeah, so we went out for a ride, but a lot of the roads were frozen. Everything was getting icy. It wasn't like that good packed snow that's really nice to ride on. It was really that heavy, rigid snow that is a mess. So we tried to ride around on it and just simply did not work. And we were realizing that our Festive 500 trying to happen in Salzburg would not happen. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure now, if I had the same conditions, I've ridden here now for 6 more years since this happened, or almost 7 more years since this happened, I probably would ride through this now that I think about it. But back then, it was not a chance. So we decided, what do we need to do? We needed to get outside of Salzburg. So we decided to go down for the very first time. I'd never been here. We decided to go to Lago di Garda. So we packed our bags and said, you know what? Festive 500 is not happening in Salzburg, which kind of ruined the point of having a Salzburg 500 website. But yeah, we dumped it, moved on. And as you can tell, on day 5, it was really beautiful weather, and we were in Lago di Garda. So Lake Garda, or Gardasee if you speak the German, and it was a good time. It was really nice weather, but we tried to do one of the large mountains there. I think it's called Monte Baldo. So we rode up Monte Baldo, and it was, riding out of Lago di Garda is really beautiful, especially if you leave from Riva. So if you've never done it, I really recommend it. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. And we ended up going all the way up to the start of the climb, and we started getting some snow again, which I guess we're fine with. We started getting some ice again, and then before we knew it, we ended up at a dead end where we were no longer able to pass even right up to Monte Baldo. The road was not plowed, and it was way too heavy snow to even ride on. So we gave up and went back down and had some pizza, which was a great time. Maybe my favorite time of this entire Festive 500. And on day 6 is when we realized that we were just 2 days from the finish and we had not ridden enough. So we decided to do something that I recommend everyone do once in their lifetime, is ride the circumference of Lago di Garda, especially around this time of year because there's not many cars and not a lot of traffic. So we decided to leave early that morning and do the entire circumference of the island of the lake, and it was really also quite cool. I mean, no cars. We got to chill. Bobon's bike broke like always at the time. We did some little climbs on the side, so we took some detours, and it was a blast. Like, it was just one of the nicest rides I think I ever done. It was quite long. I think it ended up being a bit over 150 kilometers, so for quite good for a long, chilly ride, but the weather was perfect and we didn't mind it. I think some of the standouts really were at the end, we went around the lake and we kept going past Riva to get a few more kilometers since we had some sunlight left, and the sun was setting over the lake, and it was really beautiful. And I know that's not very festive 500 because it wasn't that tough, but it was chilly still, and it was 180 kilometers in the rain. In the cold. So we drove back to Salzburg for day 7. The hard part was driving back to Salzburg. It was dumping snow, like a real blizzard had come through the previous 2 days, unrideable blizzard. And we had, I'd say, the toughest time driving back to Salzburg at the time. But we made it back, and we tried to do the last day, which was only 21K. That's all we needed to finish the Festive 500. Needless to say, it was snowy and icy, and getting around was really difficult. A lot of crashing, a lot of tipping over. At the time, gravel bikes weren't really a thing, even though I kind of had a cyclocross bike. We were still on 23s or 25s. So you can imagine and road shoes, you can imagine how tough it was getting out and riding in some of this weather. Cleats were completely locked up, and we did finish it. And it was really, I think, the happiest I'd been on the bike, finishing that 500 kilometers that day. And it just, at the time, it was just awesome, right? And we had updated this website every single day, so we had like a cool collection by this time of stories, and people were really like, this is awesome, we love what you guys are doing. And it was really just an all around fun time. So at the end, I ended up printing off a bunch of postcards from each day and sending some Mosakugeln to some chocolates from Salzburg to Rapha to kind of like trick them into saying, hey, look at us, we can win. So I actually did win, and it was really cool. We went together and we won a bike frame, which is difficult to have for two people to share, but we ended up making a deal between us, and I had the bike frame. And it was a really great Rapha Continental bike frame. I'll show you some pictures right now. It was beautiful when it was first built. I built it with Campy coming right out of the gate. It was a nice bike, and I rode it for many years and did tons of adventures on it. Endless adventures. To the point where last year I even sent the bike back to Ricky Feather, who made the frame, and he refixed some of the parts. It started to rust in some places, and some bolt holes started to, on the bottle cages started to become unscrewed, and so he completely fixed it up. We repainted it, and it's back to life. I rode it today even. So now 7 years later, I still have the winning bike from this, and I'm still riding it multiple times a week. And it's my favorite bike in my collection right now. It's just perfect, and it reminds me of this good adventure that I had with my friend back there 7 years ago. So next up, I'll give you guys some tips and recommendations for how you can stay motivated and enjoy your Festive 500 and stay warm. So let's do that. So my first tip is to don't feel like you absolutely have to do the Festive 500. It's a good time of year to go out and ride your bike and get some of those really good long kilometers because you're either not working or you have a bit more free time. But remember, it's a good time also to be with your family, and you shouldn't feel the pressure to do it. You should do it because you enjoy it. Second is take this time as a good time to ride with friends you haven't ridden with or caught up with. It's the end of year, they're probably off from work, you're off from work, it's a good time to connect. Only if you're in one of the countries right now that you're able to meet up and ride with people. In Austria, we're able to ride with one other household, so it makes it much easier to go and do this. And I'm excited to catch up with some friends I haven't ridden with in a long time. Third, don't take risks. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's super icy and cold and wet this time of year and snowy. If you're not confident in riding these conditions, don't go out and do it. Really, it's not worth the effort. I crashed on ice like we talked about earlier. A few months ago, I crashed on ice and knocked my shoulder out of place. So I know of all people, it's dangerous conditions sometimes, and it's not worth it. So if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Fourth tip is my favorite, and that is try new routes. Go to different places. Go up that lane or road you've never gone to. Maybe go around that park you've never visited. I mean, it's a great time right now to go explore new places in your surroundings. So really, try new routes and go new places. It also spices it up and makes it a bit funner, especially if you need to achieve 500 kilometers. So my fifth and final tip is about staying warm, and it's really important in this tough weather to do that. The key is to layer up, wear multiple layers, and really figure out what combination works best for the conditions you're going into. But there's one thing that really always works for me. If I keep my core warm, then my organs are letting the blood spread throughout my body. If my core is cold, then it's gonna hold a lot more blood. So the best you can do is keep your core warm, and then your extremities will stay warmer. So that's it. I hope you guys all have a really great Festive 500. I hope you're safe. I hope you still get to see family. I hope you enjoy some food and all the amazing things that are around this holiday season. Please like, subscribe, all these other good things, and I'll try and make more videos just like this in the near future. Thanks guys for watching.